Hi, welcome to Far From Eden. Thank you guys for allowing me the last couple of days. I just was not up to making videos. But man, speaking of man Reacts sure has been. He doesn't stop. He's constantly curating all of this great content, and it's just the women saying what's on their minds. And it's still amazing to me, a couple of things, that they will say all these things out loud, not realizing that it doesn't look good for them. You're rejecting wonderful men, ladies. You're divorcing really good men. You're blowing up your families. And then you're whining and crying about it. Where are all the good men? Why don't they want me? And it's like, why don't you listen to what they're saying, for heaven's sakes? So just the lack of awareness is astounding. And the fact that they kind of tell on themselves. And I still wait for when are they going to realize. Although I will say, I think a lot more women are realizing now what's going on with men, and how the men have been given the short end of the stick with divorce laws, just regular laws, just criminal laws, where if there's a crime, and a man commits a crime and a woman commits a crime, the man gets, the sentencing is far more harsh. And that's other men doing that. But anyways, the point is that I think more women are waking up to it. And what I would really like is if the better women would call out the really not so good ones. I've seen more of that happening since the Johnny Depp Amber Heard whole thing in 2022. I have noticed that women will now say, hey, men can also be abused. Hey, DV also affects men. And that so much of it goes unreported. I've seen that in chats and in reactions to cop cam videos and court cases that are now, so much of it is, since we had all of it on Zoom in 2020, and then now, so many courtrooms are live streamed. And it's great because people can actually see what's going on, and they see the little mini Amber Heards doing what they're doing. And the other thing is that women are now seeing that this is happening to their sons. And some women might marry a man who has been married before and then see the behavior of the ex-wife. And so while we have a long way to go, it's better in some ways the last couple of years because of that, because of people like Pearl. You can say she's a grifter, and it may or may not be true. However, she did bring a lot of attention to it. Because let's face it, you guys know it, nobody listens to men. So it's gonna take the better women pointing out and holding the really bad ones accountable. And the reason I qualify it that way is because, a lot of us women out here are certainly not in a position to be like, oh, I'm so good, let me point out. But you guys know there are better ones and there are some real problems. And I think if we can start there, it might be good. Having said that, we're going to do some of that today. I'm going to do some of that today because Man Reacts has a video out that I want to watch with you guys. It's so good. And it's about, these lonely women now. And it's going to be more and more the lonely women who are like, where are all the good men? Wait a minute. Wait, what happened? Like, life goes by, life passes you by, and you have a window. Women have a window to, meet the best man they can because of their youth and their purity, and then have a family because of their fertility, and then enjoy that family and have that family also take care of you. It's a symbiotic relationship. And now you're alone. The cat ladies are alone. No, I love cats. And we all know we have Lola, by the way. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Whenever I think of Lola, that's what I'm reminded to say because I forget to say it otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I love my dog, but I will be the first to say, yeah, sure, I realize she's a substitute for a child that I do not have. I literally grieve and mourn for the children that I didn't have, the family that I did not make, because decisions I made, thinking that my health was a reason not to, that a husband would never want me. That was not my decision to make. That was his decision to make, whoever he might be. And deciding to go and, try to be as much of a horse trainer as I could, even if it was mostly with my mind because the body was not willing. No, I should have focused on trying to have a family, making that work when I was younger and healthier and the rest of it. I own that. I get that. I wish that I had listened to, frankly, the Bible because I knew, but I believe that whole, well, we're in a different time. Doesn't matter. Times change. Tomorrow's going to be a different day. I'm still going to have to drink water and eat food. Some things don't change. So, especially the really important things. So let's get a look at these chicas and see what they are griping about. She's very pretty. She's probably got a filter. Always assume that they have a filter, that they're using a filter because they usually do. Let's make sure I'm all the way at the beginning. All right. Let's go. Okay, internet and technology, let's go. Or not. Let's just talk amongst ourselves. Why don't we?
The lonely road of modern women facing the wall.
So it seems that a lot of ladies are getting divorced before they turn 30. And as someone who got married at 26, has been separated for a little over a year, 32. Being in your 20s is the trenches. There is nothing better than being in your 30s, still being hot, maybe having a little bit of your own money, figuring out what you want to do with your life, everything, and having tried that married fantasy and realizing that it's maybe not all it's cracked up to be, and then you've got your whole life still ahead of you. So for all of those people who are stressed or feeling stressed,
but you don't have your whole life still ahead of you, woman. She's been lied to. Biology, simple biology, it doesn't lie. You don't have your whole life ahead of you as a woman when you turn 30. You have a certain number of years of fertility. And I hate that this society just, and all of the West, seems like, oh, well, whatever, that's not part of your life. Yes, it is. That's an important part of your life, lady. You don't know it now. But when you are older, you will realize you should have really begun your life way earlier. The 20s are the trenches. What is she talking about? Trenches. She doesn't know anything about trenches. Are we in a towel? What are we doing here with our... They always, you ever notice this, women, when they're making these videos, it's supposed to seem like, oh, I'm just deciding to quickly make a video. It's like, yeah, but also you look like you're also just in between, shoots for Playboy or something. It's like, it's, and who is she trying to convince also? Is she trying to convince other women, or is she trying to convince herself? Because a lot of the times when women give bad advice to other women, it's because they're trying to tell themselves something that they want to be true. And if they can convince themselves of it, maybe it is true. Well, it's not. No, your life doesn't get started. What does she think her life is? Her career? Pleasurable experiences? What does she think her life should be about? Because I have a slight feeling, don't want to be judgmental or anything, that it might be something shallow.
about being divorced, like it's good. Congratulations.
This is the reality, cold and simple. Women have always survived with the help of men. This has been proven throughout human history, where women have managed to live without taking part in most wars or performing the majority of the taxing chores necessary to establish this civilization. However, despite all the crap for which men had to die, women eventually outnumbered men in the world. You are probably aware that women cannot survive for very long without men, and if it weren't for us standing up for them, they would have long ago disappeared.
It's so true. And most women have no idea. No idea. They see the world here and all the fakery that they think it just popped up. Like, men did this, men built this, men keep it running. And if all the men disappeared right now, we would not do well. We would not. We females are not built for the harshness of the natural world, not on our own. And especially not if we're pregnant or have small children. It's just not the way it works. We are all made. We're made to need men. So Man Reacts is once again spot on.
Something I didn't really anticipate in my life being single is that the more successful you get, the more single kind of hurts. I am a very independent person. I pride myself on, like, I can do anything alone. You've seen me talk about it on here. But I'm at a point in my life right now where I am arguably the most successful I've ever been personally.
4-1, she dies alone.
I'm more financially secure than I've been in many years, all doing things that I built myself. But at the end of the day, I come home to my house that I bought myself.
Oh my God.
And I have nobody to talk to.
The reality
Exactly. I want to hear what Man Reacts has to say. But that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes. What's it all mean? What's it all worth, lady? You say you're the most successful you've ever been. Really? Maybe you need to redefine the word success. Because that's not success. Who told you that's success? School, government, society, maybe the parents, like, go out and earn money. Go out and earn money and make a name for yourself. That's what matters at the end of the day. But it doesn't. I think that's why we have that expression, at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, what is there? Family. Your family should be there at the end of the day. That's what it's about. That's the drive. That's what keeps you going, is doing things for your family, knowing that your family has your back. The whole thing. The value that a woman feels when she's a mother and she's serving her children, raising her children right, nurturing her children, and serving her husband. And in return, it's not like the men don't do a lot for women. They sure do. It's just high time we got back to trying to match that. And that hasn't happened for a very long time. And I'm not thinking 1950s, trad wives, cooking, cleaning, and that's it, with dishwashers and laundry and sending the kids off to government schools. No, teaching your children, homeschooling your children, cleaning your house yourself, making food from scratch. That is healthy. Taking care of your husband, growing a garden, making natural herbs and medications for your family. Oh, there's so much you can do from sunup to sundown as a woman. You will never be like, oh, there's nothing for me to do. No. Women should work. They should work for their families in their homes. And this woman, who's the most successful she's ever been in life, is she? No, she's not. She's been lied to. When are these women going to realize it? Hey, this isn't cool. This is a bad deal. I can't believe I'll believe this. But they'd have to have some self-awareness, and they'd have to be willing to say I was wrong. I think there's more of them that are willing to say I was lied to than to say, hey, I was wrong. I should have made different choices.
reality still stands that they will use men as a method of survival, taking advantage of our vulnerabilities as their greatest strength. Women will always be able to exist off of men's sacrifices, resources, and protection until men get over their urge to bust and spread their seed. Men can only do it in order to prevent women from utilizing them to survive. Most men would have to quit protecting women in the future, acquire control of their desires, put their wallets away, and allow the government to handle their affairs. This alone explains why women have been able to live and adapt to the point where they outnumber men, and is the reason why the slogan "Women First" exists.
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive. Unless you're a 7, 8, 9, or 10. If you're a 10, you're probably not catcalling. But don't do it. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that.
Okay, put some clothes on, girl. She's dressed in underwear, walking down the street, complaining that people might call out. And dudes who are 8s, 9s, and 10s don't do that. They don't. And I think she had a filter for her face too, by the way. And we like the upward camera because she's just going for literally making a video saying, don't catcall me. And the whole intention of the video is for people to ogle at her. Like, who do these women think they're fooling? You are dressed that way because you want people to ogle at you. They want to be able to complain about people catcalling. And you know what I think? I don't think guys are doing that anymore. I think you guys are over it. I think you're like, nope. I think there might be a few, but I think, I don't know. Those might be, they're not thinking about their lives straight, because if they were, they would realize they could get false accusations and all kinds of things. They would realize that that chick walking around half naked, or mostly naked, is a trap. And you shouldn't engage with that at all.
If a woman rejects a man, how should he know whether or not to keep trying?
Her body language. I just think you should not keep trying.
Yeah, if she rejects you, you should not keep trying.
He asked for my number and I was like, no. And then later on, like, he tried it and I was like, whatever.
Oh, so he was persistent. He didn't give up.
Yeah, he wasn't that persistent, but like the third time he tried, I was there and we took on a date.
However, times have changed, and we now live in a society where equality is the norm. With MGTOW, men don't need to offer resources or protection to women. Men don't need to defend women any longer since they have the government to take care of them. And they also don't need to supply long-term resources since they can go out and bring home their own food. You don't understand women if you believe that they will simply die alone without any help. Just keep in mind that the monkey simps, hope strategists, and lonely single men who desire a partner outnumber us.
To you.
Have you ever rejected a man specifically to test his determination to winning you over?
Of course. I love the chase. I love the chase.
No.
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Say why, so they know.
Because it's fun. It's a game.
That's all they care about. They're like cats playing with a mouse. They don't care if the mouse is injured or hurt. They're not even hungry for the mouse. It's just fun for them. That is psychopathic. And you see their faces? It's funny. It's funny. And they have the nerve to be mad at you guys when you say, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. What is this? Like, that is, it's like a psychopath. You know? These men have feelings. God.
Game. That's up.
Have you ever rejected a man specifically to test his determination to winning you over?
Yes. 100%.
So then how does no always mean no?
It doesn't. No can mean yeah.
What?
Okay. Well, like I said in the intro, they confess. They are confessing. They're just playing with your feelings. They don't care if you get hurt. They enjoy it. It's a game. Yeah. She said it standing right next to that man.
Well, that's confusing.
No can mean yeah and yeah can mean no. Just depends on how you say it.
We would need a lot more men to become RP and then choose to either go monk mode their own way or the free agent lifestyle. But that will never occur, to be perfectly honest. In this life, at least. Therefore, do not hold your breath. We are held hostage by women. So believe me when I say that there will never be any change for the better for men. For instance, if a war broke out, we would have to take the shots and stabbings for them before they were ever required to grasp a gun and defend themselves. Lonely older women will go to any length to be with men. Therefore, women will always outlive men. Now, even if some women will live alone, Are you certain this will be the case until their passing? I want you to give this some serious thought. They will, in fact, be single. Although it seems most likely, how confident are you that they won't experience loneliness in the future?
Oh, they're going to be lonely. I will say right now, they're lonely right now. They just don't want to admit it, except for that one girl we saw talking about she's the most successful she's been in her whole life. And I see what he's saying about, they're not going to end up alone. But here's the thing, though. Who is signing up for that? Because, maybe there are men out there that are like, sure. I just think that men are over it. It's not worth it to them. I think that they are realizing that their peace is more valuable. Time will tell. Will it be that there's going to be, in the old folks' home, in the nursing home, there's going to be women there, there's going to be men there, and the women are going to be hitting on the guys? Like, what is it going to look like? We don't know. Yeah, the women will be lonely. And they will run out of resources. They will rely on the government, but we know that it's never enough for women. So they will try. I do know of a couple of older ladies living in the States, both alone. One was trying to date, but complained that all of the men were boring. This lady was old, like older than 75, and the men were boring. She wanted to have different experiences and to travel. And I was like, seriously? But like, it's no different than some of the 20-year-olds you hear. So I don't know what these women are going to do. Honestly, that's a great question. And it's part of the reason that I watch Man Reacts, Man Guide, and Men Only, and a bunch of those channels, because they're the best at curating what these women are saying from TikTok and different shorts and stuff like that. And I want to see, are they lonely yet? Do they realize yet? What are they going to do? Because you can't assume that it's going to be logical. Actually, assuming that the behavior of the women as they get older and they're alone, assuming that suddenly they're going to get logical, I guess, it wouldn't make sense, because they haven't been logical to this point.
Because if you stop to think about it, a sizable and expanding segment of men and young men are single and lonely because their counterparts aren't interested in them. Accordingly, and on the basis of the research that is currently available, many of these older single women hitting the wall now will still be able to lure thirsty and lonely men. They will instead find a way to adapt and survive by using what's between their legs. Instead, they will adapt and prey on lonely young guys and unmarried men who are unable to attract women in their age group. Women know they can't lure men who go their own way. But with men going their own way, their only true asset is not going to help them, and that's what scares them the most. So they don't die by themselves. You guys have to realize that a man will always be willing to ignore warning signs in order to establish intimacy. This shows how intense the want for companionship or relief is for males, and tragically, far too many of them are prepared to settle for anything less than pure release. Therefore, even if we want women to learn their lesson, the sad truth is that too many men are willing to give up everything they have fought so hard for in order for those men's need for intimacy.
That is so true. And that is the Achilles heel that women know that men have. And that's what they take advantage of. He's right. He's right. There are so many men who are willing to simp for women. They're willing to look past the red flags. They're willing to take the abuse. They're willing to actually trade some of their peace. But I think at the end of the day, it doesn't work out. I think in their minds, they must think, no, this one's kind of a good one. This one's a good one. This one's worth it. And it's really not at the end of the day. Because however she acts there in the beginning, it's not necessarily how she's going to act in 3 years, 5 years, or what have you, when, the hypergamy starts itching and she starts to take you for granted and thinks she can do better, or her life isn't easy enough or happy enough or pleasurable enough. But he's right. He's right. It's difficult for men to turn down, companionship and and intimacy with a woman. And it's what's kept us females alive over time, because y'all have wanted us around. I'm not talking about post-feminism. I'm talking about back then. And we used to be kind of worth it because we were, having babies and being good wives and being complimentary and being cooperative. We were happier then too. But he's right. Like, it would be great if all the men could go MGTOW, just go on strike. And then the women would go, uh-oh, we have to change something. But what he's describing, I'm glad he's saying it. I would not want to say it. I don't want to say, hey, you guys have this weakness. Hey, you shouldn't do that. I'm very glad that he is saying this part, because it really should come from one of you guys. And he certainly studies this enough and is a man. So yeah, what he's saying is true.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but if you think that most men will wake up and decide to end relationships despite knowing the red pill, you are mistaken. Even the guys who quit their relationships will ultimately come back into one, especially if they can't understand this red pill message anymore. Hold the line and hold the fort for the few of you who are determined to remain unmarried and pass away alone. Just know that you will have to give up your independence, serenity, and quiet as soon as you decide to return to the plantation. If you're okay with that, carry out your duties. Almost half of the female population is going to be single and lonely. Do you know that by 2030, it's expected that a growing number of women will be single? In a recent piece, it was predicted that by 2030, 45% of American women would be unmarried. It will definitely happen, gentlemen. There will be many ladies in the future who will be alone. It may not be 45 anymore. Now, that doesn't necessarily imply that they won't be piped the hell down. No, they will be engaging in polyculture to a large extent, in addition to accomplishing that. That is definitely present already, so as time goes on, I anticipate it becoming more common. Although they think that doing so will help them have acceptable finances and get to know themselves better, they have been taught the idea that they can climb the corporate ladders in their 20s, have a good profession, have multiple guys hit on them, and finally settle down in their mid-30s. The unfiltered truth is very different. Leftover women live financially irresponsible lives for the most part. Women overspend, live paycheck to paycheck, and have so much emotional baggage that their ability to attach as a couple is permanently lost. They turn to antidepressants and other legal drugs like alcohol and cigarettes when they are in their mid-30s and early 40s, and have trouble finding a man who truly wants them as a mate.
Oh my gosh, he is saying so much truth. Yeah, because at that point, what do you have to offer? And the women we saw in the beginning, they're like, I'm independent, I'm independent, I'm independent. And for men, they're like, okay, great, you've just explained that you don't need me. So what are we doing? I don't think that most men think that being married means being roommates who have hanky-panky. I don't think that that's the best thing, because it's with women, so much more comes with that, right? We are like kind of chaotic. And so I think a lot of men are like, yeah, no, that doesn't sound like a good deal. Especially when it's, the hanky-panky is not going to be regular. It's going to be manipulative. It's going to be self-serving. So yeah, who wants them for a mate by the time they're leftover? Given given up some of their best years to other men, maybe many other men, to a career that means nothing, to bosses who don't care about them and co-workers who forget them. It's all a waste. And then the other thing too, and he'll probably talk, Man Reacts will probably talk about this, is, yeah, they live financially irresponsible. They don't think about savings. They don't think about the big picture. It's all right now, right now, right now. And it's gonna be, I don't know what's gonna be in 5-10 more years, because they're not going to be able to even entice the younger lonely men. You're gonna be, what are you gonna be, 60 trying to hit on a lonely 30-year-old guy? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so.
However, this does not imply that men pay them no attention. Some males will thirst for any woman out there, no matter what sort they are. That's an ugly truth that hurts men and masculinity. They say, Never make someone a priority in your life when you are only an option in theirs. That's when most men have learned the hard way, as women throughout their 20s rejected good men to only be with Chads and Tyrones. Now, after they're 40, have great jobs, 2 divorces, maybe a couple of kids, and the Chads and Tyrones don't interest them any longer because they're still selling cinema tickets and washing cars. They're looking for the same men they shamefully rejected all those years ago. Welcome to their world, ladies. Women generally fail to understand that the market determines their value, not their own self-perception.
Oh my gosh, exactly. They think they get to pick what they're worth. They don't understand, hey, it's the buyer. That's what the market is. It's what the market will bear. So what is the price for something? It's the most you can get from the buyers. Well, if the buyers don't want the thing you're selling, then you don't have any buyers. You've got to lower the price. And what happens if you're like, well, I give it for free? Women have no idea of this concept. It blows my mind. Do you watch any of those dating podcasts? What would you rate yourself? A 10. I think everybody is a 10. I'm like, oh my God.
These older women mostly all perceive themselves to be far more valuable than the market dictates, which is why they get so frustrated and lash out against men, whom they blame for this. For a woman, her value is the highest when she first enters the market, and it slowly declines in her 20s, before dropping dramatically in her 30s.
Yep.
It's generally the opposite for men, where their value is highest in their 30s after establishing themselves in the workforce and making a good salary. Why are older women struggling to find good men to date? I know why. They're just so full of themselves. You see them all. I'm the whole package. I'm attractive. I'm independent. Yes, but are you really love? Are you fun? Are you able to be lovable? Or are you unnecessarily argumentative and a boss babe? Can you love a man for the person he is? Or are you only checking off a list of superficial requirements? The hilarious truth is that during their teens and 20s, they allow Chad and Tyrone to get the goods without any investment, as they bounce from bad choice after bad choice in the name of fun, till they get to their 30s, and they suddenly have standards and expectations for the sucker whom they expect to pay full price for the product, now full of bad judgment and trauma. Meanwhile, Chad and Tyrone got it for free. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel.
Yes, the link to this video, the Man Reacts video, will be in the description. Man, he was really spitting facts, as the young folks say, there at the end. Yeah, giving away your best years to Chad and Tyrone and all the rest of them. You're just like, why are you giving away all of that when you should have saved it and preserved it for the one man who would be your husband? And I understand that that sounds puritanical in this day and age, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. Because if you look at what's going on right now and how it's all working out, certainly that's not the way. Certainly it's not. And for the women, it doesn't make them happy. Their career doesn't make them happy. It doesn't fulfill them like they think it will, like the way they've been promised. It just doesn't. So, yeah, I don't know. Thank you guys for, watching this with me. And he said so much there at the end. I barely have anything to add. He was, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of leftover women. And they're not going to be able to manipulate like they used to. So what is going to happen? What are they going to do? What are they going to teach their daughters? What are they going to teach their other women? Are they going to keep telling them, oh no, do what I did, be independent, never depend on a man? It's ridiculous. It's this ridiculous lie. And the more women that can realize this and tell other women, the better. That would be the best. So thank you guys. I'm sorry for all of this landscape, this anti-man landscape. It's not the way it should be. I hope that you have protected your peace today. I hope that you are feeding your souls. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.